Welcome to another episode of The Power of Choosing.
Today's topic is your emotions are valid. And not just valid, they are necessary and human and part of the whole human experience. And they're telling us what we need in the moment, pointing us to what suits us, what doesn't. They're valid, they're necessary, and there's nothing to be ashamed of.
Absolutely. I always say emotions are your indicators, and it is really like a checkpoint. When you're feeling certain emotions, our typical response is to critique it and to shame it and to judge it and all of those things. But it really is an indication of what's going on. Sometimes a big one for me that I see for people is it's a boundary that's being crossed. And it's a great way to really be able to take our emotions and not make them wrong, but really be able to use them in our life to be like, oh, someone overstepped. I need to speak up and say something. Something's going on. I need to pay attention to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can definitely so often make them wrong.
Ugh.
And crying is such a big one. And last week, even though Christmas is gone, I started singing the Christmas song, "You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why." And it's about Santa. And my 4-year-old was listening and he looked at me confused and he said, "Why does Santa not want you to cry?" And you forget kids are always listening. He said, "I like to cry. Like, crying's good. Why wouldn't Santa want that?" And it stopped me in my tracks because we have taught him that it's okay to cry. He is someone with big emotions, just like I was. And we fully allow these emotions. And he can cry, he can scream, like, as long as it's in a safe way, whatever he needs to get out, he can get out.
Mhm.
And this song was like, it's kind of an old-fashioned response of like, crying is not good. And so he questioned it, which I love. And I'm like, yeah, you proud mum moment. And it's this, like, as a society, it's so normal to not want people to cry, to say, oh, don't cry, you'll be fine, to lessen the problem, to make it go away, to not feel uncomfortable. And it is okay to cry. And this is something that has taken me a long time to learn. I was the kid who had big emotions, and when I was watching Lion King, for example, where the lion dies, I knew that was coming up, so I'd leave the room and I'd just hide in the bathroom for enough time for that bit to have happened and then come back in, because I knew it would make me cry, and crying wasn't acceptable. And it felt shameful, and it was something that you're not supposed to do.
Well, it's just interesting as you're sharing that, because did anyone tell you it was not acceptable to cry, or was that your experience of it?
Yeah, as I was telling it, I was thinking, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And I can't remember a moment where I was told that. I think people around me maybe felt uncomfortable with the emotions, and I sensed that as a feeler and a sensor. I'm like, oh, when I do this thing, other people don't feel good about it. So it was more of a making sure the other person's okay.
Yes.
I won't do this thing that I know is making people uncomfortable. And I've got friends now who are the loveliest, kindest people you'll ever meet. And there's been times where my 4-year-old or 2-year-old are crying, and their immediate response is, "Oh, don't cry. Oh, you'll be fine." And it is just this automatic response of, I want to make you feel better, because that's the nice, kind thing to do. So there's no harm meant.
Right. It's this undercurrent that kind of goes on for everybody of like, I call it toxic positivity, and it's not necessarily toxic positivity, but it is like always feeling good, where it's like we have all of these different emotions within the human experience, and we're really not allowing that. Like crying is one example of that. And, oh, here, feel better. And we don't always have to feel joyous. A part of is like all of the different range of emotions. Like me losing my family, I cried, and that is a normal, typical response. But that is, as you said earlier, it's uncomfortable for people. So a lot of what I was experiencing is it was uncomfortable for people to sit with me in my pain, that they are wanting me to shift into think of this, be positive, da da da. And that's not necessarily like it was a normal response. And there were spaces and people that I was able to cry with, but minimal because not many people could sit with that uncomfortableness.
Mm. Yeah, and it's because we're not taught to. We want to be fixers. We want to help people out. And what I've found from being able to now allow all the emotions to come is that it's your body just getting what it needs in that moment and releasing. And we had a tough time over Christmas, and there was things that I needed to cry about, and I allowed myself to. And with no shame, I was able to let all these emotions out. And then afterwards, it was, oh, that's just what I needed. Thank you, self, for allowing me to have that. And now I can move on and think of other things and think of the love that I obviously had for these people to be feeling that emotion. But if I didn't allow that to come out, then it's this weird suppressing and not really feeling stuff that then ends up coming out anyway at another point in another way.
Yes. And I know that when this topic initially came up for us, I had talked about my favorite crying story, and that's where this all developed from. I had gone to a couples counseling with my spouse, and afterwards we were grabbing dinner, and we were getting to this place where internally I was struggling with the fact that I was just frustrated with the whole experience, like what we had talked about and so forth. And so a tear came down my face, and I was like, internally, I said to myself, just let it out. Just let it out, Trudy. And so, like, I started bawling in the middle of a restaurant, and I could see my husband got really uncomfortable with the fact that I was crying and, like, what are people going to think of us and all of that going on. And I just internally, even though he's like, don't do it, I just internally was like, yes, let it out. Yes, let it out. And I did. And honestly, it was so funny because by the time we actually got to the car, yeah, my face was a little bit swollen from all the crying. The tears had finally stopped, but I felt awesome. So it was just one of those things where I was like, I am so glad I had learned this thing of like, just let it out, just release it, just like experience it and let it. And I really let the emotion go through me rather than bottling it up, which is what we're constantly, the message is to not feel our feelings. And so it's always my favorite crying story. I know for my spouse that he didn't appreciate it. And I get that. But at the same time, for me, I still am laughing about it years later, where it's like those people who saw me in the restaurant, they don't care. No one came up to me and said anything. They just go on their own merry way. But I felt great. Releasing is such a huge benefit for one to do.
Yeah, and to need it in that moment and to just think, I don't care what anyone else thinks. This is for me.
Yeah.
And this is what I need. And let it out. It's great.
Yeah. It's, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it is. It's that like, I'm free from this. Because what we know and what we talk about a lot in this podcast is things that stay in your mind, thoughts, words, and everything become bigger. And it's the same with the emotions.
Yes.
Things that we're feeling that are bubbling up, they become bigger if they're not released.
Mm-hmm.
And we're supposed to take things in, discard them if they're not true, take things in, discard what needs releasing. And this is how it works. And then we kind of learned to, like, I don't know, fit into a society, not make anyone uncomfortable. And we store things in our body that aren't supposed to be there.
Yep.
And I think one of the big reasons why people are worried about letting out the tears, the anger, the whatever emotion it is this worry of, if I open the floodgates, it'll never stop. and I'll never be okay, and I'll always be sad, or I'll always be angry, or I'll always be frustrated. And what people don't realize that underneath that emotion is you, fine, perfect, whole, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true, I believe, of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's these layers that we've built up and built up. I mean, we did the episode about letting go. It's that, what can we release? What am I holding on to that I don't need?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, let it go. Cry, shout, stomp, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Cuddle someone, be on your own, whatever you need.
Mm-hmm.
Lean into your intuition, another episode podcast. All these things of release, and you will be okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, your imagery was so perfect where we pack things on top of each other. And so it is just, for me, it's the human experience. So if we can just allow emotion to go through us, we don't have to build things up. Like, let it go through, like releasing. Don't keep holding on to it. And yes, all the episodes we do are intertwined with everything. And emotions are another layer. And it really is okay to cry. It really is okay to be able to release. Like, going back to my favorite story of crying, I was frustrated and was a space for me to release. I no longer am frustrated. I mean, there's different frustrations that happen as life goes on, but I keep releasing it rather than holding on to it. And the relationship keeps going on.
So at the start, we talked about how our emotions are pointers to things.
Mm-hmm.
Like a need, or a what do I want more of? What do I want less of in my life? And the more we ignore them, the more we can ignore this need, or this real like glimpse of information that our body, our mind is giving us. So obviously with grief and then tears, it's, I'm grieving that I no longer have this person in my life, or will never see them again. And the love that you have for them is pouring out.
Mm-hmm.
And frustration is usually I'm not getting my needs met, whether that's because I'm not asking for them, or they're not hearing what I want, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's another way that it can be a pointer of, okay, what do I need? And if we suppress it and think, I shouldn't feel sad, I shouldn't feel frustrated, we then don't get to the next bit, which is, okay, what can I do about it?
Mm-hmm.
So in this moment, I just need to scream or stomp or be frustrated, be in it, get it out, because your body needs it. You want to move, you want to like whatever you need. And then information. Okay, so I got really frustrated. What am I expecting of someone that maybe I haven't even told them, or what's going on for me in this moment, essentially?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. To me, it's little flags. Have I really clearly communicated this with someone else? And sometimes that someone else is ourselves. So it's not towards other people. Sometimes it's like, have I even said it to myself of what I need in these moments?
And it's not always to put the blame on other people. Like, I'm perfect in this, it's someone else's fault. It's the, okay, what's my role in it, first of all, is always a really good place to start.
Mm-hmm. And that's when we're taking ownership and really recognizing that our emotions are indicators. It is one of those things when we can start owning the fact that I'm having the emotion, then you can do something about it. So when we put that blame onto someone else, we're not taking ownership. So it doesn't allow the emotion to go with us. It gets to be about someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love for people to be able to take the time to look at a wheel of emotions, because it's actually very helpful. And I actually have one, if you're watching this, you can see, but it's a wheel that I've made that I did for my own self. There's 6 main ones. We have anger, disgust, sad, happy, surprise, and fear. So those are going to be the main basic feelings that one has. But then under that, there's more words that encompasses that. So I'm going to just take sad, because that's one that a lot of us go to that make that wrong, rather than actually allow us to like go through the emotion of it. And so that would be like guilt, abandoned, despair, depressed, lovely, and bored. And then you go out another layer thick, then there's more words that fall under there. So a lot of times we will say, I feel guilty. And there's more nuances to the word guilty. So when we can like expand it, we can get to more of the emotion that we're actually experiencing, rather than putting it into, I'm sad. Like sad is an easy way for us to talk to one another and quickly describe what's going on as I'm sad. But there's more underneath the sadness. Sadness is the blanket word to be able to describe so people can relate. But like the more we can go and dive deeper into the actual emotion, we can then almost pinpoint what it is. And that will help us go through it rather than stay stuck in the sadness, if that's the case. Going back to these 6, there's anger, disgust, sad, happy, surprise, fear. There's not always just feel good, not just all the happy. There's other emotions that exist besides like essentially the positive or the feel good ones. The human experience is all about the range of different emotions that we feel. And so I would love for people to explore it, because it is one of those things when you can start to name more and expand the vocabulary, it can allow it to go through you rather than identify. Like for me, when I was grieving, I identified with sadness, but it wasn't sadness, it was grief. So it's another layer in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think the important thing is that none of them are wrong. None of them are bad. None of them are ones, I have to avoid. And if we can release that, here are the good emotions, here are the bad emotions, we don't have to make it bad every time we're sad. It doesn't have to be bad if we feel anger. It doesn't have to be like, I'm feeling joyful, I have to keep hold of this because I want to feel this all the time. It's actually like emotions, all of them are valid and they all serve a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm feeling angry because I have a passion and I've seen an injustice and I want to do something about it. And the anger is what is going to fuel me to help this person that's being wronged and get up and do something. Or I'm feeling sad and it's grief and it's because of the love that I had for someone. And wow, what an amazing amount of love that now causes this. So it doesn't necessarily have to feel good in the moment, and that doesn't make it bad or wrong.
Correct.
So all emotions are valid. They're necessary. They're part of this wonderful human experience. We have art that makes us tear up. We have a world where we can look at the stars and feel things. We're feeling people. And as soon as we decide it's all okay, we don't live in a perfect world. Life isn't always fair. And I can go to and from, and I'm flexible, and I'm going to be okay in the end, because that's just the truth of it.
Yeah, it's flow, and it's flow of feeling all of the different experiences. It is the human experience. And so the more range of emotions that we can have, what a rich life we have then. And it's such a beautiful place, but that is not where we typically go to. We typically go to, oh, I can't believe I did that. And so I like that idea of how rich life is by getting the opportunity to experience all of these different flavors of feelings.
So yeah, feel the emotions, allow them to be. Boys can cry, girls can cry, we can all cry, we can all feel anger, we can all feel joy. Let it all be. Thank you for coming to another episode of the Power of Choosing podcast,
where today we took a look about how your emotions are valid.